Oh, there's a maple bug.
Where?
On my light. Hey guys, it's Nikki again. I'm here to do the beginning of my paired reviews. This month I am doing The Queen's Gambit by Walter Tevis. This one I'm actually doing because my husband has watched the Netflix show and really enjoyed it and has wanted to watch it with me. And being that I like to think I'm a good bookworm, I try to read the book before I watch the show. So that's why I picked it up. What I knew about this story is that you were following a girl who is a chess prodigy, and that was it. That's all I knew. And so to put it in a little bit better detail, you're following Beth Harmon. She is an orphan who discovers that she has a talent and a passion for chess, and the story is just kind of following her as she explores that. That's all you really need to know to go in. Although I'm sure a lot of people know a lot about it, this is the spoiler-free review, so I will try to keep spoilers out of this. So I'll move into my likes here. I liked Beth as a main character. I found her very complex and interesting to follow, and she helped keep the story very engaging when it otherwise would have been very slow. My second like is the pacing. Because this is a very slow story, especially since it centers around chess, I found the choices for pacing where they dwelt upon the situation and where they would jump ahead and kind of fill you in, I felt was really well tailored to the story, and it really kind of emphasized what was important to Beth. And I really you kept all the meat of the story and you didn't skip on things that would have made it too slow, which I really appreciated. I found the pacing to be very effective. The third like is the cast. I really enjoyed the cast of characters that you had. You had Beth being your protagonist, and then just everybody else that she was interacting with. You had this really wonderful mix of really engaging characters who could be a long-standing relationship or even just a brief acquaintance, and they all were just very interesting, and I loved watching the way that they affected Beth and kind of following her thoughts about them. However, this book was not entirely perfect. There were a few things that I didn't care for, although I could only come up with like 2 major dislikes that I think would be an issue. I guess outside of these 2 dislikes, there are some pretty major trigger warnings. There is substance abuse here, and if you are triggered by that or struggle with it yourself and don't want to read it, that is something to keep in mind. But now on to my actual dislikes. This one is actually very, very specific to me and the type of person I am. I am very anxious in regards to performance. And so whenever Beth had similar anxieties, I had to stop listening to the book because it was making me too anxious at work. So this book took me a lot longer to get through than I anticipated, but that's just because I found the stress of some of the situations just to be way too hard for me to get through in one sitting. That's going to be not a dislike for everybody. I'm sure people are going to enjoy that tension, but it really messed with me. And my second negative is that although I really enjoyed the cast of characters, some of the relationships left something to be desired. Either you dwelt on people who ended up being unimportant in the long run, or you didn't get as much time with people that you thought would be more important. Very, very small, very nitpicky in the grand scheme of things, but something that I didn't care for. And now we're gonna go back to the characters. I've really said all I want to. Like, it was a very good cast. You have this really great mix of brief acquaintances and long-standing relationship. And they all the side characters especially, filled very specific purposes and did it very well. And Beth was, like I said, just a very engaging main character. I guess the only thing is, despite how character-driven this book was, the only person that really grew throughout the story was Beth. So if you want somebody who loves multiple characters developing, that's something to consider. You don't really get that with these side characters. And overall, I really quite liked them. They were all flawed, they were all unique, they were all had different voices and different purposes. They were really, really entertaining to meet over and over. With that, I will just jump into my wrap up. I'm giving this book a 4 out of 5 stars. Like I said, I really did enjoy it. There were a few negatives for me, and then there's that trigger warning I mentioned with substance abuse. But the big thing for me was just this book was so much harder for me to get through because of the stress and how much it mirrored my own. This is something that not everyone's going to run into, but it definitely made my reading and enjoyment of this book a lot harder. And honestly, this is my favorite kind of drama. I just didn't anticipate being like hit by a truck with the stress. There's something about these kinds of books where it's something very specific, very unique, and requires a lot of mental fortitude to do, and I really enjoy that kind of anticipation typically, which I think is why I enjoyed this book so much. And really, this was a great story for Beth, and I love following her on her journey to chess stardom. I do actually really recommend this book. It's a mix of like historical fiction and like just literary fiction, and it came together in such a good way. I can't wait to see it on screen. I think if it's adapted properly, it'll be good, and since Netflix did this as a miniseries, I think we'll be in luck here. And with that, I will see you in the next video. Peace.